Hello, everyone, and welcome to Indian Masterminds. We have with us today former Chairman of Union Public Service Commission, Mr. Deepak Gupta. Mr. Gupta is also former Secretary to the Government of India in the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, where he had initiated India's ambitious National Solar Mission. An Indian Administrative Service Officer of 1974 batch and of Jharkhand cadre, he is currently the Honorary Director General of National Solar Energy Federation of India. Today, we are going to find out from him about his UPSC and IS journeys. Welcome to Indian Masterminds, sir. It's a pleasure to have you with us on our platform.
Thank you.
When did you decide to join civil service and why?
Actually, I made this decision rather early in life. As we were growing up, we started thinking about how we could contribute to this young and independent India. My father was in the Indian police, and I used to watch him as growing up, his work and what all he could contribute. So somehow the other, we got this feeling that we should contribute to national building. It was not possible, nor did we ever think to join politics. So we thought that the Indian Administrative Service would be the best route because the service gives a variety of experience which no other service does. We are in leadership position and there are so many opportunities to do public service. So actually, life thereafter became something which we were sort of preparing to join the service. So never thought of anything else really.
Okay, sir. Tell us about your UPSC preparation. What was your optional and why did you choose it?
Well, in those days, the system was very different, the examination system. I had done my BA in history and political science also, and my MA in history. So naturally, they became my lower and my higher subject papers because then we did not have to specially prepare. All the study had been done. In fact, after my MA, I did MPhil from JNU because there was plenty of time and I had to wait for 1 year. So basically, it was a revision for those papers. For the essays, we prepared some or thought about some general essay topics based on what used to be asked at that time. And we kept ourselves current about general knowledge and current affairs, etc. I think now perhaps the people have to work much harder and maybe prepare over a period of time.
Okay. As UPSC chairman, you interviewed candidates regularly. Tell us a little about your own experience in the interview round when you appeared for the civil service exam.
Well, I think for the interview, being a little nervous is only natural. I would like to tell you an old story of a candidate who was pretty nervous as he walked in. As he was sitting waiting in the corridor, and then there was some perspiration, and he took out his handkerchief and wiped his face and put his handkerchief back into the pocket. And when he went in, somehow or the other, the whole of the handkerchief had not gone in and some of it was being shown. So as he walked in and wished the chairman pointed a finger towards the handkerchief and he said, "What is that, Mr. So-and-so?" And this boy, he followed the finger and found that little handkerchief was sticking out of his pocket. So he replied, "That, Mr. Chairman, is a demonstrative pronoun." And he tucked his handkerchief in. So he was both nervous, but at the same time, he showed great presence of mind. And that is what something which the interview gives great importance to. But I did a little bit of practice, to get over this question and answer format with different people asking you questions so that it just does not become something absolutely new. And I did think about some subjects which I had studied, as well as the current affairs of that time. Uh, However, largely, I think the questions were very different and had very little to do with my preparation. So most of the time we had to think on the spot and answer, and that is why one really has to be very alert and answer very very carefully. But nervousness is being natural. Sometimes it gives you positive energy also.
Right, sir. So does mock test help? Because nowadays a lot of these candidates, they appear for the mock test first before appearing for the final interview.
I think some mock tests might be useful, certainly, because they put you into a practice mode. Nothing. So it helps. It helps.
Okay, sir. So where was your first posting and how was the feeling that day? Any particular incident that comes to mind now when you look back?
My first posting was as a subdivisional officer in a place called Godda, which is in the Santhal Pargana area of Jharkhand. It was a very small town and semi-tribal area. We had very poor electricity. I remember most of the time it wasn't there. The area was quite dry. The poverty was endemic. Infrastructure was poor. So suddenly, after having studied in big cities, we sort of reached the back of beyond, and it was the first time really getting to know about the real Bharat and the real India and its problems. So, and the main thing that you felt first was the great feeling of responsibility. That now everything happens in that area will be your responsibility. So you have to suddenly grow up. That was the main feeling. Now, about one interesting incident, if you allow me, I can mention.
Yes, sir. We'd love to hear it.
After about a couple of months, I used to do my court regularly. There were thousands of court cases, revenue cases pending, which I found very surprising in such an area. And somehow some person, a lawyer, for some reason, he was sort of misbehaving. And so I asked him to please leave my courtroom. But probably they did not like this young IAS officer asking him to leave the court. So they boycotted my court. So I was a little worried. Why should they boycott and all that? I was just 2 months into my posting. But then I went to the court and I said to the people who used to come, poor people, mostly very poor, they used to come from lots of distance by cycle or by walking or by, bus, that I will listen to you if you want me to. And then based on the papers that you have submitted, I will take a decision if this is acceptable to you. And I was surprised. Everybody agreed. And 70 cases used to be listed for the day, all got disposed of. The next day, all got disposed of. The next day, all got disposed of. I was so thrilled that, oh, look here, history is in the making. I will be able to resolve and to deal with all the pending cases, and cases were being disposed of. And so then the boycott finished and the lawyers came back and we went back to the old routine of poor disposal. I mean, this is a real message of why pendency of cases is there and where we need real reform. So it was a very exciting experience to me. And the most important thing was how they, had confidence that I would give a proper judgment. Just come into because probably they saw that this guy, he works hard, he's impartial, and he will take, proper decisions. So that was a big lesson to me. And it should be a big lesson for all officers.
Everyone. That was a wonderful start to your career, sir. So, and
Yes.
thereafter, the other postings must have been equally eventful. So any interesting anecdotes from your journey that you would like
Now,
you can tell us about any impactful initiatives that you
Okay, I was in my second stint as collector, and after about 13 years of service, when I'd been posted to the state, I'd been posted in Government of India. I had in fact had a posting in Brussels also outside. So I was in a district called Rohtas. So I was suddenly sent there because the position was not very good. I found the district had come last in the rural development programs in the state, 39th out of 39. And the crime and law and order situation was very bad. A large number of criminals who had rewards on their hand. There was, terror kind of thing over there. So how to set these things right? It was a real challenge. And so we worked very hard. We visited the field. We were seeing all the schemes, meeting people, talking to them, getting things done. And a year after that, we stood first. And in the criminal case, all these people, these dacoits and criminals, they were either dead or in jail. So, it was a radical change. Now, the question is, the only difference was me and the SP. Everything else in the district was same. So we must have done something which led to these kind of developments. And so this shows that what is possible. And I will tell you a story. We built a lot of houses for the poor at that time. And one day, some 30 group of 30 scheduled caste people came to me and said that you break the houses where we are living and you make houses there. So I said, you want us to break your existing houses? And they said yes. So, and we did it. And in the next 3 months, their new houses were ready and they were thrilled. After that, we did only this kind of new houses. Now the question is, how did they have the faith and trust in us that we would actually do it? Normally government has no credibility. We're breaking my houses. So that was another great lesson. What led to this feeling of credibility and trust between the administration and the people? And the another thing was, when I was joint secretary, I joined in health ministry. I was given charge of the tuberculosis program. And when I was horrified to listen that India constitutes 30% of the global problem. And also WHO was saying that India has been a laggard in TB control. It was very hurtful to hear this and read this about my country. So a new program was coming, a new diagnosis, new methods of treatment. So we really pushed. We had a lovely team of even WHO consultants. We really pushed ourselves, became very ambitious. We toured all the districts, all the states, and monitored through the collector. Lots of things which I've written a book about it, only on TB, covering 1 billion with dots. And after 5 years, the same WHO said to other countries, look at the inspirational story which is coming out of India. How did this happen? I have briefly explained this in my book also. How did this happen? So it complete turnaround and change. So this is what is the potential of what we can do and we need to do. So I think, two of these would tell you what is the work that IAS officers are doing. It's not only me, and hundreds of them are doing, and what is possible to be done for the country.
Right, sir. So you mentioned that you were posted in Brussels. So in what capacity did you go on deputation?
Yes, I went. I was a deputy jute commissioner in Calcutta, and there we have a India trade had then at that time in India trade mission to the EEC at Brussels, and it looked after India's export. So I was advisor jute and coir for 2 years. Okay. And there were others also for handicrafts, textiles, leather, etc., etc.
Right. So how did you handle differences with your seniors?
Well, I had not many differences with seniors, but those some were quite important. When I was collector Saharsa, and at that time I was the youngest collector, a new commissioner came, and within a few days there were serious differences with him. He asked me to do certain things quite innocently. And it was not possible to do. For example, there was some incident and he asked me to tell the superintendent of police to apologize to the commissioner's driver because of some incident in which the driver actually was to blame. So I said, I'm sorry, sir, I can't ask him to do it. The whole administration prestige will be gone. And besides, he did the wrong thing. In fact, you should dismiss the driver. And then in the elections, he asked me to do certain things. Nothing, hanky-panky. Only polling people should shift from here to other districts, etc. And in both of them, I told him, sir, I cannot do this. It is not possible for me to do. And that was the end of it. He was very nice and nothing happened subsequently. But, we always used to give great respect to seniors, which we must. If you feel that they are unfair sometimes, then you have to just let it pass, because essentially you can't afford to have differences and dispute between the two of you, because people have to work as a team.
Right.
But I used to give my opinions quite frankly, and I used to try and persuade. But, if I have a reputation for integrity and for hard work, for taking initiative, and I have good ideas, then all this helps. All this helps. Your value is greater. As far as juniors are concerned, also generally things were good. I was fortunate to have good juniors. I also encouraged them that, look here, you give your views or counter my arguments, and I expect you to do hard work and make your own contribution. And in general, this happened, and I think it maybe inspired them to do better. And we found we had great teams, and some examples I have given you. And there were a couple of instances where the people did not do work or do as well. And there simply you ignored them and you did their work too.
So even if they make big mistakes?
Who?
Your juniors. If they don't perform well and supposing they make some big mistake, then how did you deal with the situation?
I don't think there was any such occasion where they made big mistakes, but there may be small mistakes. Then you try and tell them that this is a learning process. So you have to learn from these mistakes, and this is what you could have done. This is how you can do things in the future. But if there is a big problem, you just have to deal with it, the outcome of that problem.
Right, sir. So you believed in...
Yeah, but you have to maintain good relationships, After all, you are working together, and together you have to deliver.
Right, sir. So how did you manage work stress?
Well, I don't think hard work by itself caused stress at any time. Even in the elections, there was physical stress in the sense of maybe sleeping for 2-3 hours a day over several days. And there have been difficult situations of law and order, or floods, or contempt cases in the High Court, or elections. So one has to just keep calm and think straight and all that. And sometimes it gives you nervous energy. Take whatever time you get to rest and try to do your best. I think everybody is trying to see whether you are trying to do your best. And if you are doing it, then the stress level everywhere declines. It's much easier to handle things. And I never had that kind of stress if you are being unfair, or you are doing wrong things, or if you are corrupt. That stress, so I can't advise how you handle that stress, because I don't know that stress, and I hope officers don't feel that kind of a stress.
Looking back, how would you sum up your IS journey?
I think my journey very eventful and extremely satisfying. And when I retired, I could really tell myself that I had done a good job. Life in the service is full of challenges and opportunities, and I think there's hardly a dull moment. My book, Small Things Matter, shows that there is good work that we can do in every posting. And I try to do that. I went through a wide variety of experiences, of dealing with people in villages which are very poor, and also speaking to international audiences. In our official life, there was constant change, which was always a challenge, but it added spice to life. And what is a life without challenges? And I always felt that public service had become its own reward. And wherever you did something nice, you felt good about it. There is so much to do. So even small contributions by each individual IAS officer can make a difference. So I would sit for the IAS again if I given the opportunity. It's really a remarkable experience.
So you really miss those days.
Yes, I mean, I don't miss it because 39 years I was in this service. That's enough. But it was very, very.
A memorable journey.
Yeah, memorable. Yes. And hence the memoirs also.
Right, sir. So how are you spending time now? Of course, you are very busy with a lot of engagements.
Well, I'm enjoying my second innings. The one thing, you are free from any responsibility, and you are free from the daily routine of going to office. I have written many books since I retired from as secretary MNRE. I've written 4 books, which has taken up a lot of my time. I now read a lot and write articles and sometimes speak on issues related to energy and governance. And I'm doing interviews such as the one you are doing just now. And an hour later, I'm going to speak in a solar seminar. We traveled a lot, both inside and outside India, all kinds of places. My children are abroad, so we went and spent time with them. For intellectual stimulation, I play a lot of bridge. And for physical exercise, I play a lot of golf. And I read and I listen to music and I sit in the garden and watching good flowers. We are about to go to and spend some days in a forest. So who said one has to retire on retirement? And I say to everybody, lead a full life, as full as you can.
So any message for young bureaucrats?
Well, I think many of the things that you have asked me and I have replied to contain messages for
Right, surely.
young officers. And whether it's my book on the steel frame, the history of the IAS, or my own memoirs, which is Small Things Matter, there is a lot for younger officers that I have written there. I think people should join the IAS if you want to do public service. It is not just another job, because you will have a great responsibility which you must fulfill. Secondly, I think those who want to join this service must or have joined must understand what was the constitutional design and the role envisaged for this service. And that is the role which you have to fulfill. You must understand it in order to fulfill it. And I think third is that work hard with empathy. India has a lot of poor people. You must impact their lives positively. Take decisions, just don't demur, just take decisions and deliver. You must act impartially. And of course, it is a given that you must show complete integrity. And I think you must keep giving honest policy advice. You can't just say, be a yes man. You know, Sardar Patel said that if my secretary does not give me good advice or contests my views, I will sack him and get a new secretary. So that is how you should behave. And also that you must professionalize and constantly update yourself and keep learning. That's true for every individual, but I think all the more so for the officers.
So from your experiences as the UPSC chairman, what advice would you like to give to the aspirants who want to crack any of the UPSC exams?
I think when I should not give advice as chairman UPSC, I would like to, in general, advice
Right.
for any examination, or for that matter, for any job that you are applying for, be it the private sector or wherever, or for your preparation in life. Everything that you do will help you do better in exams also. So I think you need to make your career choice early so that you can work towards what are the requirements of that career. Whatever are your subjects, you must read them thoroughly. You must be competent in them. I think everybody needs to be very much aware of all the current developments and need to understand them. Maybe people should make short notes as they study these issues so that you can really feel that you have a grip on them. In general, I think everybody must be good in speaking and writing, both in your mother tongue and in English. And you should practice that. You should also practice comprehension. People don't take this seriously, but comprehension means development of the mind, understanding things properly. Practice precis writing. We used to do it in school all the time, but somehow it does not seem to have importance now. Practice logical questions and even public speaking. All these are things which will help you. And it will help you build your confidence. It will help you to communicate better. And then I think you should study over a period of time and not just at one go. And also live your normal life, have pursue your hobbies, pursue other interests, develop a good, well-rounded personality. You can't be just working hard and studying all the time. And of course, if you are aspiring to join the highest civil service, please remember that you must develop your abilities and competence accordingly. After all, these are merit-based examinations.
Right, sir. Thank you so much, sir, from all of us here at Indian Masterminds. And we'd love to have you here again. That was former UPSC chairman.
Thank you very much.
That was former UPSC chairman, Mr. Deepak Gupta, speaking candidly about his UPSC and IS journeys. Hope you enjoyed listening to him as much as we did. Thank you for watching Indian Masterminds.